All right, guys, welcome to the Digital Barbell Podcast. Thank you for being here. My name is Jonathan. If this is your first time finding us, this is my wife, Blakely. We own and operate Digital Barbell. We're an online training and nutrition coaching company in addition to this podcast. So glad that you're here. Make sure you subscribe before you go. We got a lot of little cool topics to get into today. We're going to talk about, is it okay to drink diet soda? And if so, how much? We're going to talk about how much cardio you should be doing for your heart health and kind of how to do that, our approach to it. We're going to talk about if body weight workouts are really worth doing, in times where you don't have access to a gym. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about how often should you switch up your workout routine and kind of like, is muscle confusion a real thing? It's been a while since we had a good sponsor for the podcast, but I think we have one today.
All right.
It's kind of fitting for where we are at right now. You want to tell everybody where we're at and who the sponsor is?
I don't know who the sponsor is.
Oh, I'm the only one of those? Okay. Well, we've been in Bentonville, Arkansas. Maybe you're like, Arkansas? Why would you go to Arkansas? Well, this is kind of like a bit of a famous, if you want to use that word, town in Arkansas. Maybe the most famous other than Little Rock. We have a friend who is in the process of moving here. It was kind of in the direction we wanted to go. So we've been able to connect with him, and we've kind of like fallen in love with this city.
Yeah, we were supposed to be here for 3 days, and now we're working through our second week here. We just we kept extending. We didn't. We're like, we don't want to leave. The weather's great, and the activity is great. I mean, we lived in Boise, Idaho for some time, and this really people say this town reminds them of Austin, and we live in the Austin area, and I'm like, it doesn't remind me of Austin at all. It reminds me of Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
You walk around downtown, there's people like riding bikes, there's people like hiking. There's just like a very active and artsy downtown.
A lot of culture. Just like tons of coffee shops and restaurants and bars and little bike shops, and it's very cool. It's a very cool town. I don't even think there's a university here. Yeah, I think you have to go down to Fayetteville.
Yeah.
And if you've ever been out driving on an interstate and you've seen one of those big Walmart tractor trailers go by, they all say Bentonville, Arkansas on the cab of those things, and that's because Walmart is headquartered here, and that's really why this town is what it is all the influx of Walmart money.
Walmart and the people who work for Walmart and the vendors who sell in Walmart are all here. So I mean, it's really it's a very unique town because it is literally built around this one company.
Yeah.
And I would say it's a very clean feeling city, and it's like 3 or 4 cities in one area. We're not even in Bentonville currently right now,
right.
But and they're all all very clean, all very safe feeling, all very they have amazing parks. Just a really well done city area.
And I mean, surprisingly, Bentonville isn't the sponsor of the podcast. I mean, with all this promo that we're giving them, you'd think they would be. But yesterday we had the opportunity to go mountain biking for the first time because our friend Brad from 13 Adventures was passing through town, and we got to go do that together.
We had been wanting to rent bikes to ride around the streets. That's what I envisioned. I was like, they have a huge green belt system here. So I was like, let's rent some bikes and ride the green belt right through the city and all that stuff. And then Brad's like, I want to go mountain biking. And I'm like, well, what's your level of mountain biking? Because I'm at a 0 and I don't want to hold anybody back. And he's like, no, it's good. We're good. Let's go. And we were able to rent some bikes for free.
That's the sponsor of the podcast.
From this company called YT Bikes.
That's right.
And
it's an amazing deal. You can rent these killer $3,000 mountain bikes for free for 2 hours. You just have
2 hours to kind of test out the brand. But you just basically walk, go from the store, you get on your bike, and you can ride right to the trails from there, and talk about a way to make you feel unathletic. For me personally, I'm speaking for me personally. Jonathan was really good at it. They gave you, because they're just probably if you're coming in here, maybe you know something about bikes. I mean, I've ridden bikes before, but I've never ridden mountain bikes. And I wasn't ready to know how to shift the seat. You push a little button and the seat drops down for when you go over bumps. And the brakes, I mean, everything was a little bit different than bikes I've ridden. And I was so out of my element, and we didn't even barely ride on the street. We're just straight to trails.
Yeah.
I have never felt like.
And there was some good obstacles on that first trail too, little wood bridges and ramps that you go over.
These were green trails,
yeah.
The guy was like, "Oh, this is the Disney World of bikes. This is great for beginners here." He called it, you're going on
like the bunny slopes when you go
I
skiing.
was like, no, this is not beginners.
I tell you what, though, like what was really humbling was all the uphills that you have to do, because it can't all be downhill.
Yeah.
Just like even in the lowest gear, your legs are pumping like crazy. Man, I didn't have an activity going on my watch, but I guarantee you my heart rate was like 170, 180 easily after, 2 to 5 minutes of straight uphill.
Yeah.
That was really, really tough.
But it was so fun. I'm like, I really want to. It's like I want to get better at it. I want to get a bike. I want to get better at it. I want to like find places. We're trying to figure out like what kind of places do we want to travel to. I want to find places that we can travel to that we can like do some of this kind of biking, and I just want to get better at it because man, it's kind of like if you go swimming and you try to like swim for laps and you're just like I'm so fit, blah blah blah, and you jump in a pool and you start to like swim a 500 meters and you're like, oh my gosh,
I'm terrible at this.
What just happened?
So we'll get better with practice, but we appreciate them sponsoring the podcast today. And it's coming to the point where we have to figure out where we're going after here. So stay tuned next
or
week.
maybe we just stay.
We might be in a different location next week.
All right.
Let me just say something like, actually, all of these topics came from one of our email subscribers. I think in one of the emails I sent out last week, I said, hey, if you have any things that you're wondering, reply to this email and I'll either create an email about it or we'll talk about it on the podcast. And Cammie was nice enough to come up with all these different topics.
Awesome.
So
that's great.
That's where all these came from. So shout out to you, Cammie.
Well, this first question is great because yesterday when we got done riding the trails, shredding the trails, I was like, I'm craving a Diet Coke, guys. And they walked for like 10, 15 minutes to go to this certain place that I could go get me a Diet Coke on ice. Like that's all I could think about. Yep. I was so thirsty and I'm like, I got to get a Diet Coke. So hot. The first question is it okay to drink diet soda? And if so, how much?
Yeah. I know we've talked about this like on our Instagram story because we posted pictures of us having diet soda and people have asked, but there was definitely a period of time where I thought diet soda was like poison.
Same.
All those artificial sweeteners and the colors and like that stuff's going to kill you. And I also believed that, this was a while ago, but since it had artificial sweetener in it, I thought that it could trick your body into thinking that you're having actual sugar and it could prevent you from losing weight, would spike your insulin, cause fat storage, all that kind of stuff. But since becoming a more science-based person and looking at research on this kind of stuff, I can assure you that as far as your body being tricked by the artificial sweeteners in diet soda, it's not possible. In the absence of a real sugar, there will be no change in your blood sugar because of diet soda if you're worried about that. Okay. And as far as just like being one of these, quote, unhealthy things to drink, it's not. And we'll talk about why and what you need to watch for. But, if you look at somebody who drinks a lot of diet soda just as part of the overall population of the country, there's a good chance that somebody who drinks a lot of diet soda is probably not going to be all that healthy. But it's not because the fact that they're drinking diet soda. It's just that if you look at somebody who relies on stuff like soda, whether it be diet or regular, they're probably eating more processed food in general than somebody who eats a lot of whole foods, homemade foods, drinks more water.
Right.
That's usually paired with more homemade options. But if you go through a drive-through, you're more likely to get a soda. If you're stopping at gas stations for your nutrition, you're more likely to drink soda.
Yeah.
So there might be kind of like a relationship between those two things, but it's not a causal relationship where somebody who drinks a lot of diet soda and is out of shape or unhealthy, it was caused by the diet soda. That's not how it works. So the thing that most people think about with the diet soda is artificial sweeteners, and the most common one is aspartame. And I'm going to just like kind of read to you the research on aspartame because it's not like something I keep top of mind all the time. So they usually do aspartame or artificial sweetener studies in rodents and in other small animals because it's not practical to try to give a human the amount of one of these artificial sweeteners that it would take to cause a negative reaction. So the acceptable daily intake for aspartame is 50 milligrams per kilogram of your body weight. That's according to the FDA. So for a 150-pound person, for example, that would be between 3,000 and 3,400 milligrams of aspartame per day before you get above the acceptable daily intake.
Wow.
And if you're a 220-pound man, that goes up quite a bit. A typical 12-ounce can of diet soda has about 180 milligrams of aspartame. So we're looking at a threshold of above 3,000, and one soda has less than 200. So what that means is you would have to drink between like 18 and 20 cans per day for this 150-pound person, let alone if you weigh more, to get to that upper limit of what the FDA says is healthy. So that's over 2 gallons of diet soda before you even get to that range. And when they do these studies on rodents, they actually find out what's unhealthy for the rodent. And then just to be extra safe for humans, when they set the threshold, they multiply it times 100. So that limit is already 100 times higher than they think is going to be safe, just to be sure. And you'd have to drink 2 gallons of diet soda to have any negative, potential negative outcomes from any of the aspartame. So like if we accept that and we realize diet soda is okay to drink in moderation, how can we use that as a tool in our own lives and with our clients to either replace a sugar sweetened beverage that they're just overeating calories with, that's holding them back from losing weight, or as a treat to keep them from wanting to eat like higher calorie, highly processed, snack foods. Like right now, like I can think of, like, at the end of the day, people, they want to have a sweet treat, like whether it be a bowl of ice cream or like some kind of thing to end the day. What they're really craving is the routine and the sweetness of that. Well, diet soda is really, really sweet. So if you can swap out your nightly bowl of ice cream with like a cold Diet Coke over ice, and that kind of cures the sweet tooth kind of thing, but for 0 calories, that could easily wipe out 200 to 500 calories out of your nighttime routine. I'm not saying you have to do that, but it's just an example. Or if you swapped out, if you're in the habit of drinking 2 regular Cokes full test Cokes per day, I think that would be over 300 calories of Coke. And if you can swap one or both of those for a diet option, which will have no negative health outcome, boom, that one change could be enough to get you into a calorie deficit to cause fat loss without having to revamp your entire diet. So if you like diet soda, go for it. If you've been afraid of it for health reasons, don't worry about it. It's small potatoes. And
if that little change where he was talking about, like, swapping out 2 regular sodas for 2 diet sodas can lead to a deficit and help you lose weight. If that kind of blew your mind, we are going to be launching a group nutrition. This is the first time we've ever done this. A group nutrition coaching program for women only on September. They're going to start on September 15th. So this is like kind of the first time we're talking about it. So if you're not on our email list, be sure to get on our email list by just going to our webpage, and anywhere. There's tons of ways to just get on our email list right there, so you can be the first to know. So again, this is going to be just for women, so that way it's going to be a group coaching atmosphere, and our coach Haley is going to lead the women through this, and it's just going to be a great way to talk with women who are like maybe in the same stages of life, going through the same things. And it's not going to be a nutrition program where you're going to be like tracking and using MyFitnessPal and things like that. We're going to talk about just things like this, like swaps that you can make, ways that you can, things that you can make to your current lifestyle to change and to lose weight without like totally disrupting your lifestyle.
Yeah, it's going to be like designed for the person who kind of knows what to do but has had trouble doing it long term, or somebody who has tracked calories before and lost weight and then regained it when they stopped. We're going back to the basics, and I'm not going to be the coach, but it's going to be centered on going back to the basics and setting you up for long-term success forever just during these 8 weeks.
Yeah, and the idea is if you can stay present and consistent through the program, chatting with the group, chatting with your coach Haley throughout this for these 8 weeks, which is a very short amount of time, you can kind of be set up to like learn how to do this like forevermore, and then teach it to your family, and and affect how they eat and the choices that they make. So again, like if you're not on our email list or following on Instagram and stuff, be watching for that, because we're going to be dropping some information soon about how to get into that group.
I'll put a link for how to get directly on our email list in the description of this episode, because email subscribers will get first shot, and they'll probably get a little bit of a discount too.
All right, second question. How much cardio do you recommend, and what is the best kind?
The best kind of cardio is kind of like if somebody asks a photographer, like, what is the best camera? It's best camera is the one that you have with you, because it allows you to take pictures. And the best cardio to do is the kind that you're willing to
you'll
do consistently. When it comes to like, is it biking? Is it running? Is it swimming? Like,
Is it rowing? Yeah.
it's not the details of that matter. It's
Right.
it's are you willing? Can you find something that you're willing to do consistently?
Yeah, and will you do that effectively? Meaning, like, will you add the right levels of intensity to that type of cardio?
Yeah. So the World Health Organization and the CDC, they recommend 150 minutes of what they call moderate intensity cardio per week, or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity per week, or a combination of those two.
Yeah.
I love that word vigorous too. It reminds me of the Seinfeld episode where Morty's out working out in the hallway with the bands.
Yeah, I worked out with a dumbbell. I feel vigorous. No, that was from, it was
Was it
Ben
George?
Stiller or Jerry Stiller who said that. I
Oh, it
worked
was?
out with
Oh,
a
that's right,
dumbbell.
yeah.
I feel vigorous. I think it was
love
on
it.
King of Queens.
I love that word. So for the average person, that breaks down to doing cardio in one of those forms for about 20 to 30 minutes, 3 to 5 times per week.
Yeah.
And this is what the government recommends as the minimum threshold. There's benefits above that, but if you heard those numbers and you were like, wow, I'm not getting anywhere near that, well, you're not alone. I didn't look up the statistic, but I think it's about 20% of Americans meet the these minimum requirements, which is why, as a country, we're really failing as far as obesity and chronic disease. So before we kind of tell you like how we do this with our clients and how we do it personally, why do we even do cardio at all? Because we have a friend who has lost a lot of weight. His physique has changed a lot, and he kind of prides himself on not doing any cardio at all. But it's not just about the benefits that you might think of, like it burns calories or whatever. It's really like for the health of your heart and your overall body. There's so much spillover into other markers of health other than just burning calories and weight loss and stuff like that. So you can lose weight without doing cardio. It's not about that. It's about the quality of life that you have, staving off heart disease, increasing circulation, improving your recovery, building your endurance. And yes, you're going to burn some calories doing cardio too.
And just the capacity to be able to do the things like that you want to be able to do in life. Like imagine rushing through the airport carrying some luggage, and you're able to do that without feeling like you're, sweating like crazy and totally out of breath and things like that. Or going for hikes when you're on vacation, or, going for longer distance, bike rides or things like that for enjoyment with the family. Just being able to take part in those type of activities without feeling horrible.
I mean, okay, so let's take this person it looks like they're physically in great shape. They've got good muscles, they're lean, all that kind of stuff, but they have done so just through diet without doing any cardio. Let's say they joined us on that bike ride yesterday. They're going to enjoy it for about 3 minutes, and then they're going to have no cardiovascular capacity to keep going and enjoy it, especially those uphills.
Right.
So there's tons of spillover into other things other than just it just has so many other benefits that allow you to enjoy your life. So I hope that makes a good case for why you should be doing your cardio, even if you don't, quote, have to.
So what can this look like for a week? And this is how we do it for our clients and how we do it for ourselves. So we do it through the things called finishers. So, we do strength training, 2 to 3 bodybuilding movements, and then a finisher at the end. And the finisher is often a higher intensity, short duration, I would say like a CrossFit
it's like a little
style
workout.
And that's what these are meant to do, is to build your capacity, get you these minutes of the vigorous intensity or moderate intensity work. So we'll add those in 2 to 3 times a week for our clients, along with one longer duration. This can be like just going out for 20 minutes for a steady pace walk, jog, bike, or row, or a combination. It can be a 30-minute EMOM style, where you're going through a work rest cycle of 20 air squats, rest for the rest of the minute, 20 push-ups, rest for the rest of the minute, things like that. And that's how we add this in for our clients. But then we talk all the time on this podcast about how we like to watch our steps to make sure that we're getting enough activity for the day, and for take how beneficial just getting outside and taking a 10-minute walk is for you, your mental health, and to add to these minutes. So in addition to the finishers, we definitely recommend to our clients to monitor their steps, stay active, and get these lower intensity minutes walking, whenever they can throughout the week.
And I would say, like, after working out in all these commercial gyms since we've been traveling in the Airstream, like, we see a lot of people doing their cardio on the machines at the gyms, but I would say, like, the majority of them aren't even doing them at this moderate intensity.
Yeah.
They're doing it at, like, a zone 0 cardio where their heart rate is, like, only slightly above a resting heart rate.
Yeah,
so if you're working towards your 150 minutes of moderate intensity, it needs to be moderate. Mm-hmm. And like, even if you're trying to get up to your number or just get your cardio in by doing these kind of walks like you're talking about, try to get yourself up into like a more zone 2 heart rate. Mm-hmm. That's more moderate, like 65% of your maximum heart rate.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to find your maximum heart rate, you can take 220, subtract your age, and then you can just Google like the zone system. Mm-hmm. But about 65% of that number you came up with is where your moderate intensity stuff should be doing. So don't just stroll like nothing's going on.
What that looks like is that like you can't really carry on like a successful conversation with somebody. You could like talk to them, but you'd have to like take a deep breath in every few words. Like if you were trying to talk to somebody while you're doing this, you definitely couldn't be like using your phone and things like that. Like I think that, that's one of the things we talked a couple of weeks ago on the podcast about how like we've joined the YMCA as we're traveling. And I do like the YMCAs because they just like, they'll have like a line of like 30 treadmills in a row available. And it's really hard to run outside. Like when it's so hot, like I just feel like I can't go as far. Mm-hmm. So we'll use the YMCAs specifically for that. And I often feel like I'm bothering people by running on it because it's just full of people aligned using their phones, walking on it. Barely moving. And like you said, it's just not the intensity we're looking for. You're in the gym right now, like you're in there for 45 minutes or whatever. Let's like bump up the intensity and make this count while you're in there.
Yeah. And there was a period of time where I thought like cardio just meant lifting weights faster, like shortening your rest periods or, just literally doing your reps faster. But the adaptations that you get from dedicated cardio, whether it's like the more steady state zone 2 stuff you're doing on a treadmill, or if it's dedicated time during your workout where for like 8 to 15 minutes, I'm going to push the intensity of this section. Even if I'm lifting weights, like you get different adaptations out of that than if you're just thinking like, I'll just like shorten my rest and keep my heart rate up while I'm doing my supersets or whatever. It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Like we need both. We need the strength training. We need the hypertrophy focused bodybuilding, and then we need the adaptation of the cardio also.
And by doing those things, you're going to take away from the strength training if you're like doing your set of squats and then doing like jumping jacks for 60 seconds and then trying to do that next set of squats. You're going to pull away from the gains you're going to make on the squats.
That's a great point.
And you're not really going to get the benefit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if everything that we just said is like overwhelming to you, just hire us and we'll tell you exactly what to do so you get all the benefits.
All right, the third question. Are bodyweight workouts worth it if you can't lift weights?
What do you think?
I say yes, definitely. I mean, we have tons of travel workouts. We like encourage our custom clients to tell us like, hey, when you're going on vacation for a week, we can give you some body weight or band or combination workouts. And like the number one thing that this does is it keeps your habit and your consistency alive. Yep. And like if you go away for 2 weeks and you do nothing and then you come back, and it's going to be really hard to get back into that habit of getting up in the morning and getting your workout in. And if you just did, these 20-minute band body weight workouts while you're gone, you're just like, the habit is alive. And not only that, you feel so much better when, that day. Yep. I mean, I always feel better when I just get a little movement in, even if I'm on a vacation or something.
Fitness inertia is a real thing, guys. You just have to keep the ball moving.
Yeah. And we can make these are not going to like, we can make these things challenging to where you are like not feeling like you're wasting your time. Like I just did something for 20 minutes and I don't feel like I got any fitter or did anything. Like these can be challenging. We were like, when we were just visiting with our friend Brad, like he talked about how when he is traveling in his Airstream, he'll get out while he's pumping gas and do a circuit of push-ups, air squats and something else. Or like, at a rest stop or whatever. Like
it's keeping the habit alive more than anything. When
keeping
it
your
comes
body
to,
moving, you feel just so much fresher after you do a little movement, especially like if you're driving for a long time or things like that. I remember when we used to live in Idaho, we'd drive back and forth to Texas. It would take 3 days.
Yeah.
And we would get to like the Airbnb, it would be like 6:30 at night, but we would still like grab the bands, do a set of 20 curls, some pull apart, some air squats, some push-ups, and we're like, oh, I feel better. Like, and it was like the most simple things, but it really did just like refresh us.
And beyond like keeping the habit alive and the mental side of things, the two most important things if you're worried about losing your progress doing body weight workouts is, number one, just continuing to give your muscles a stimulus, like getting them like worn out, giving them a reason to keep the muscle fibers to stick around. And then number two, keeping your protein intake adequate. As far as maintaining the progress that you've already made, those are the two most important factors.
Yeah.
You don't always have to be adding weight, lifting heavy weight, that kind of stuff.
This being said, though, I wouldn't rely for a long period of time on just body weight band workouts. Like, it's definitely like if you're starting from scratch, like this is definitely a place to start.
Yes.
But there needs to be eventually a progression into into like things like using dumbbells and things like that. But we have a resource at digitalbarbell.com/free, 12 killer travel workouts. So where we're going to take these body weight and band exercises, put them in a fun, effective, and quick format for you. So it basically just takes the guesswork out of like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
If I'm at the beach for 2 weeks and, I brought my bands, what can I do? You can just download this free resource.
And if you don't have bands, like the ones that we recommend are only about $15 on Amazon. So we'll put a link to those.
We recommend the
description.
non-loop bands. They're just like a long piece of band
it's
material.
it's like a rehab band.
And you can like stretch them. You can do curls. You can do overhead tries. You can do rows.
Yeah.
You can pretty much do anything with them. And we do have some ideas, like if you're kind of writing these for yourself, of like ways to like challenge yourself a little bit. So take the push up. You can add like an incline or a decline to your push-ups, or you can add tempo. Adding tempo to a lot of your body weight workouts, like 3 seconds up or down, 0 rest, 3 seconds up or down, whichever kind of movement you're doing, is a great way. If you do like a set of 15 squats with tempo, like 3 seconds up, 3 seconds down, you're going to be like, wow, that was hard.
Tempo push-ups.
Yeah, tempo push-ups. For something like squats, you can do like Bulgarian split squats, where you have like your foot elevated and you're just doing like a lunge on one leg, a single leg. For something like a glute bridge, you can move that to a single leg glute bridge to add a little bit more challenge. Things like wall squats, we talked about the tempo squats. And then if you see, all these playgrounds, like we've been working out at a little park playground, bringing our equipment there, and they have a little circuit of things you can do, and they have a pull-up bar.
Yeah.
And it's been great to be able to like have access. So many parks have accesses to pull-up bars, so getting access.
Or
to
you just
something
need
like
you just need a set of monkey bars.
Yeah,
really
that's
to have
true.
a pull-up bar.
Oh man, they have a set of like these rings that you're supposed to be able to like. When you watch Ninja Warrior, they like, that's like the easiest thing that they do is swing across these rings.
That's the warm-up.
I was like, oh my goodness, it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The grip is tough on it, too.
The grip is tough. I was like, I think I could hold myself up if I wasn't just like slipping right off immediately.
Yeah. Can I say one more thing before we move on?
Yeah.
Beware of Instagram influencers who look jacked and shredded that are giving you a bunch of body weight workouts as if like...
If that's the only thing that you do.
Here's the program you need to follow to look like me. They built their physique with a big focus on their nutrition and with progressive overload and lifting weights and a ton of patience. And just because they're doing something crazy now, like, bar muscle ups with their body weight, or just a simple body weight routine to shed 30 pounds and see your abs. Like, no, they're just trying to sell you something. Beware.
All right, last question. How often should you switch up your workout routine? This is a great question.
I was talking with a client about this yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, the truth is, like, you don't have to switch up your routine. If we're talking about just practically speaking, like, do I absolutely have to switch up my routine? No.
Well, it just depends on what your routine is. Yeah.
Well, true. If your routine stinks, you should definitely switch it up. But if you're following a well-designed program that includes progressive overload, you do not have to change your routine.
And it includes enough muscle, work on each muscle group throughout your week.
Yes, has balance, has enough volume.
I think the first place to start is like, what is your workout routine? And the second place is, you don't really just need to switch it up. Like, every month or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
The muscle confusion thing isn't a real thing. Like, you're only going to end up confusing your brain if you're trying to just switch up your routine just to confuse your muscles, and you're not going to see the progress you want.
Yeah, and you won't really, effectively get to use something like progressive overload if, like, every week you were doing, like, a different, say, like, there are, like, 6 different rowing exercises you can do, like a single dumbbell row, double dumbbell row, supinated grip, all this stuff. But they all, like, you would use a different weight for most of these rows. And if you were, like, throughout, like, 6 weeks you were doing a different row, you would really never get any progressive overload because you're just doing a different exercise and you're not able to add any reps, add any weight to that single exercise.
Yeah, and if you're totally new to this and you're like, what is this progressive overload thing they keep saying? It's just being able to increase the challenge of what you're doing because your body is adapting to that challenge. So it's like adding weight to the bar, like that's progressive overload.
Yeah.
Doing more reps at the same weight, that's progressive overload. Getting a better range of motion than you did when you first started. All these are examples of progressive overload.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is, number one, like, your body is adapting to try to keep up with the stress that you're giving it. And then also you're getting practice at these things, so you're physically getting better.
Yeah.
If every workout is a completely new experience of all these novel exercises you've never seen before, it's probably going to take, like, that entire workout before you're proficient at the movement, and then you never see it again if you're continually changing your program. Like, we want you to get good at certain exercises, so your form is really good and your technical proficiency to do it isn't the limiting factor. It's your strength adaptation that's driving the progress.
Yeah. So what this looks like how do we do it for our clients? Is we take our clients through, like, 8 to 12 week cycles that where we're, like, depending on the time of year, where we're, like, on a strength focus, on a endurance focus, on a physique focus. So I, like, take the year and I, like, break it up into these blocks, and within those blocks, like, every other week we will, like, attack, like, I'll use the row for example. We'll do, like, week 1 we'll do a dumbbell row, week 2 we'll do, like, a supinated grip bent over row or something like that. Week 3 we'll do a dumbbell row, week 4 we'll do a supinated grip dumbbell row. This keeps, like, enough change alive to where they're not, like, feeling bored. We're like, okay, for 3 months I'm gonna just do dumbbell rows, but it still allows them to, like, know the next weight to do on the dumbbell row, have progressive overload, make progress, get good at the movement and all this stuff,
and hit the muscles a little bit differently, so you get good adaptation across different ranges and angles.
And then we have a warm-up area and a finisher where I can, like, kind of use some creativity, or, like, sometimes put some things together into, like, supersets or giant sets to have enough creativity to where, like, no workout that they do is, like, I'm never, like, taking, okay, I wrote week 1 and I'm going to copy that down to week 12. Our workouts don't look like that,
right?
But they're not so different that they're, like, not sure what to do, but
there's some variety, but there's not randomness. You don't need to change up your program just to have more randomness. You can change up your program to keep it more fun and interesting to do, but the framework is the same. There's just slight variation, like, that don't require complete changes just to make things different.
So within these weeks and months, I've made sure that they're hitting the muscle groups and then in the right number of times, and then keeping the variety alive through, like, the warm-ups and the finishers, and then, like, every other week they're, like, doing something. So, like, for example, like, for right now in the summer where people are, like, traveling more and everything like that, we're hitting, like, 2 weeks where we're doing bench press deadlift as our focus for that week, and then the rest of the week is laid out. The next week is, like, squat and press, and then the next week is bench and deadlift. Things like every 2 weeks it's going to change.
I guess, like, the short answer to the question is you don't have to change up your workout routine, assuming that it's good, but you should change we like to change the workout routine every 8 to 12 weeks for the reasons that you just said, because of seasons of life, because of dedicated times where you want to get better at something, not just for the sake of novelty.
But when should you change? Is there, like, a red flag or something?
Yeah, like, if you're monitoring your progress,
to know when you should change. So I would say that, like, You should make a change if you've like basically like plateaued to where you're no longer able to increase your reps or increase the weight.
You're stuck.
And usually this is due to like an equipment situation. Like say you're just working with dumbbells and like you can no longer safely get your dumbbells to the front rack to do anything like a press or a squat or anything like that. So it's time to like move on to a different piece of equipment like a barbell.
Or if you're to the point on your dumbbell bicep curls to where like it doesn't get challenging until you're at 25 or 30 reps,
right,
and that's the heaviest weight that you have. It's time to change your program.
It's time to change your program, and I would say like a lot of times it's time to change your equipment.
Yeah.
So like move into like, and a lot of times if we write barbell workouts and we write dumbbell workouts for our clients. So a program change would mean like I'm changing from dumbbells to barbells, so I'm going to change to a barbell program because my reps are going to be different there. We're going to do much higher reps with dumbbells because it's lighter equipment than we're going to do with the barbell. So don't just like use the same program if you've been using dumbbells and use a barbell and still be repping out like 15 reps on like things like a deadlift or an overhead press to try to build strength.
That's a good point. And then another thing is like if you're seeing some lagging signs of recovery, like if you're getting a lot of overuse injuries because you're repeating the same movement pattern too often, or because the weight is too light, you're having to do so many reps that you're putting extra stress on the tendons and ligaments, it's probably time for a change.
Or also, if you chose a program that was maybe a little bit too intense for you, like it had more volume than you were like ready to do. This happened to me one time when I was like testing a program, and it was like triple the amount of
glute
of volume I was doing, and actually like ended up on crutches due to a calf injury because I was like, oh, I can do this, come on, and like the volume was crazy, and like some of the exercises were a little bit crazier than I was used to, and I ended up on crutches.
Lesson learned on that one.
Lesson learned. And another reason to change is like your goals have shifted. Like you're in a strength building phase, or you're in an endurance building phase, or
you signed up for a high rocks competition.
You need a different type of program, or you signed up for a marathon. All that to say, like I've coached many people through like combining our type of strength and strength training with training for a marathon. I'm doing it right now with one of my clients. So it's not to say like, oh, I just need to give up strength building and like go be a runner for the next 6 months. No, you can like do these things, and together, but you also need like a different kind of program to do that. Yeah,
maybe we already said this one too, but like you're going into a different season of life. Like maybe you, for the next 3 months, are going to be taking care of like a parent or something like that. You're going to be out of your normal routine, or you're going to have like 2 to 3 months of travel straight for whatever reason. That's probably a good idea to shift your program to match up with like the availability of your schedule and your equipment, and just the availability of your time. The best thing you can do is make that adjustment so you can stay consistent and not feel like you're failing, and then just give up on the whole thing altogether.
All right, well, these were some great questions.
Bam.
Thank you for
Thanks again, Cammie,
them.
for sending those in.
Yes.
If you guys aren't on our email list, like you should be. I'm just going to throw it out there. We send out 3 emails per week that are really just free coaching. They're answering these kinds of questions. They're digging into the common mindset issues that we all struggle with. Some of them are just based on giving you motivation or sharing experiences from other people who are in your shoes. So it's free coaching. And if there's ever any kind of discount on programs, you're the first one to know about it. So definitely check out the link in this description of this episode and get on our email list.
All right, let's go get some bikes.
Sounds good. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you want to get a question answered, you can get on the email list and email us, or you can send us a message on Instagram too. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this. Talk to you later.